people are taking end of the summer vacations right now, or maybe planning for their next winter vacation, it's always a great time to brush up on some tips for safe and healthy air travel with the family. We have Dr. Rosey Olivero of Helen DeVos Children's Hospital with us now. And I didn't even realize that this was a specialty because you have so many questions about your health and the health of your family while you're traveling, but this is what you do.
Absolutely. So our clinic belongs to infectious disease, so we prevent and treat all sorts of infections. And a subset of that is travel medicine, so really focusing on how to stay healthy during travel internationally, or if you're doing a big trip within the country.
And so we hear all the headlines about different kinds of illnesses. I know right now Zika is kind of a big buzz. That's what you're all about. You're really to help answer those questions and help people prepare with your travel medicine clinic.
Absolutely. So travel medicine is an evolving field. There's always something new. There are outbreaks that occur throughout the world day to day. So it's really great to go to see somebody who has the most up-to-date information on the different infections and the risks for your family and your children if you do decide to travel.
Because there are some things that you can do ahead of time to make sure that you're prepared, and that's where the clinic really comes into play.
Absolutely. So we focus a lot on counseling about the different travel risks depending on where you're going to be traveling, but then also providing any preventative medications or vaccines ahead of time. And really my focus is trying to make the trip as stress-free as possible and have the parents feel like they're prepared for anything that might come up.
And so are there any sort of special concerns that people should have when they're traveling with children who may have underlying or ongoing health issues? Is that something that people really ask you about a lot?
Absolutely. So certain children who might have an impaired immune system, or they might be more likely to get sick, we want to treat them a little bit differently and maybe give them a little bit of extra special care or vaccines or medications to take along on the trip so they can avoid getting sick when they're traveling and supposed to be having fun.
And then what other kind of guidance do you give them about staying healthy, perhaps while they're along the way?
Yeah, so a big thing about staying healthy is really avoiding big risks for getting sick. So in my mind, a huge part of that is the type of food and water that you consume when you're traveling. Obviously, traveling to another country gives a lot of opportunity for eating and drinking different things, and that's a really great cultural experience. However, you want to know which things to avoid that are going to have a higher likelihood of getting you sick. So which type of foods are the best to eat in terms of fresh foods, cooked foods, which type of water you should consume. So that's a big thing that a lot of families really want to focus on, because a very common thing you get when you travel is having traveler's diarrhea. So being able to prevent that is really huge. But then we also like to give families a backup strategy for if they do get sick during travel, so that they won't have to end up seeing an urgent care or going to a clinic.
Yeah, and there are a lot of other kinds of things. Motion sickness, I know I'm one that I really suffer from that a whole lot. And you can help people with some medications that are especially designed to take care of those issues.
Absolutely. So medications are an important thing, and then there's also some little strategies you can take for where you sit on the plane or on a boat or in a car that can actually help prevent those things to begin with.
Okay, and so then what about vaccinations and those sorts of things? Do other countries have other requirements?
Yes, so specifically some African and South American countries, you actually would need a certain type of vaccine called the yellow fever vaccine before even going to that country or being allowed to enter the country. So that's of course really important, because you don't want to have your travel halted because you didn't get a required vaccine. You know, our general pediatricians and our family doctors do a really amazing job of getting kids their routine vaccines. This is one extra stop point to say, hey, do we have everything that we need? Because, hey, in Western Europe, there's a lot of measles, for example. So it gives us one extra opportunity to make sure all those routine vaccines are up to date. On top of that, there are some special travel vaccines that you might want to consider based on your destination. So, for example, if you go to Latin America, it could be something as easy as getting the typhoid vaccine. Okay, or if you're going to Asia, you might want to consider something like the Japanese encephalitis vaccine. So we're able to look at the travel itinerary and say, hey, you might run into these types of infections. Let's talk about if this vaccine is necessary or required, or is it optional?
Great information, and I think it's a wonderful place to have. And you were telling me you treat the whole family. It's not just the kids go here, the adults go someplace else.
Absolutely. We love to have a family approach because the family's traveling as a unit. So I think it's really helpful for parents, their teenage children, their adolescent children, and even the very young children to hear a very consistent message about how to stay healthy during travel. And I think it's also a great opportunity. Mom's getting shots, dad might be getting shots, the children might be getting shots. It actually, I think, helps to have the whole family unit going
it's
through
the
that.
whole family experience.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. Great information. And again, Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Stay right there. More of 8West when we come back.
Are you West?